Is Unreal Engine 5 killing games? Hey guys, what's going on? Hermdo back with you. Let's go over here. I stumbled across this thing on Twitter, basically showing some gameplay from this new game called Black State, which is some kind of cover-based shooter coming out next year using Unreal Engine 5. And check it out. It looks impressive, photorealistic, but the issue here is like the game looks very beautiful. The game is very impressive, like visually, but the big contention from a lot of gamers these days is that as graphics improved, as developers and these companies put more effort into using Unreal Engine 5 to boost visuals, the gameplay is just kind of stale. It's not really innovative or interesting. It's just kind of the same stuff we were playing back on Xbox 360. You know, the same kind of gameplay style has just kind of stagnated for the last couple of decades. There's really nothing new or interesting coming out of this industry. It looks prettier. I mean, yeah, that looks cool, but I feel like I played it a million fucking times. There's really nothing too innovative about it, but people are saying this industry will definitely implode in the next 5 years. You know, Oop, let's move that over here. But like a lot of the complaints I've been hearing, a lot of the stuff, you know, a lot of the discourse surrounding gaming and whatnot is basically, you know, the games industry in and of itself. You know, you got people have been complaining about certain ways the industry has been operating, the publishers, the developers, like the online space and whatnot, how like so much of these game company revenues come from microtransactions, how the gameplay is stuck, you know, it hasn't evolved in the last couple of decades, basically just playing the same thing. All the effort is put into the graphics. They're still stuck in 30 FPS. And people are saying, you know, this technology, this Unreal Engine 5, all this stuff is, you know, it looks gorgeous, but it's like, okay, certain studios, you know, just like maybe this game, this Black State game, isn't that impressive, but at the same time, other companies can use this technology in like ninth generation games, but they're not taking that next step forward from eighth generation games, like stuff from like 10 years ago on the PS4. We're not really evolving, and a lot of stuff that comes out these days is like Starfield, Forspoken, Suicide Squad. If you like those games, fine, but those were big bombs, and a lot of people thought they were cringe. And although they were impressive graphically in some ways, just the nature of the game, the online as a service, microtransactions, the big updates, you know, the basically cratering amount of players in on the servers, it's just a big mess. You know, eighth generation graphics, you know, we're talking something that runs on a 2 teraflop hard drive or 2 teraflop game, you know, whatever you. I'm, but it's basically like something that came out in 2013, like with the Spider-Man games or something like that. You know, still runs at a higher frame rate and looks better than something that comes out from like a 2021 13 teraflop platform. You know, stuff like that. And the thing is, you know, I found some stuff on Reddit. We'll get into that in a second, but let's read some of these comments. The most detailed textures lighting possible for a game that otherwise looks like something they play in the background of Malcolm in the Middle. This guy says, I might sound like an old man, but I remember when games had limitations how many pixels could be on the screen. The artists were still able to make extremely beautiful games. People think of pixel art as minimalist design, but back then they made it filled with detail. It's like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Why does this game have the same vibe of that fake Flash game? And then, you know, here we go. I love Unreal Engine, ray tracing, AI upscaled, GeForce RTX, FPS 23. Here, KO asks, what's the problem? I thought I got an interesting response from Mood Salt. AAA game development pursuing shinier and more realistic visuals year after year is a game of chicken with development costs. It's only a matter of time when AAA games are too expensive to make, except for the 2 or 3 sure things that come out every 7 years. Yeah, all these games, the previously mentioned games I talked about, were huge bombs. Like they closed studios over it. The people like lost their jobs. It was a big sink. Look at games like oh, what was the name of that one? Uh it cost like $250 million to produce Concord, I think it was, and it was just this huge bomb. And it cost the studio like hundreds of millions of dollars. They spent like a decade developing this game, and it just didn't work. But here we go. Here's some Black Slate gameplay. Black State gameplay. I keep calling it Black Slate. This is from 5 days ago. And you can see it's just kind of like, the third person view.
It must lead somewhere important.
Okay. It's impressive. Like, I mean, it looks good, but it's really nothing different from like Metal Gear Solid or like all these other games, like the sneaking tactic, taking out enemies and whatnot. The mechanics of it are the same. The gameplay is largely the same. But let's see what some of the people on YouTube are saying. Modern games now make everything extra shiny and reflection in every object. Funny how graphics get even further improved, but gameplay is still the same old BS from 20 years ago. I don't care about amazing graphics. Just give me a story that makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me angry. The story matters. The graphics do not. That's the thing. That's the thing. As graphics fidelity really jumped forward that far in the last few years? Are these games with the ray tracing and all this shit? Are they, is it taking the next leap forward visually? It's just it's really just kind of stale. No, we also got here this from Reddit. What do you think of all these games switching to Unreal Engine 5? Pros, cons, I'm curious. I'm aware Unreal Engine has been an absolute staple since at least the 360 days, but to me, an engine essentially solidifies the feel of so many games. GTA wouldn't feel like GTA without Euphoria, Half-Life and the Source, etc. Is UE5 really that versatile, or will The Witcher 4 and Halo Infinite 2 feel more samey than expected? Thoughts? And this is an interesting comment here. The problem is the barrier of entry for designing a modern game engine nowadays, that the company would have to make a massive investment in creating one which would be deemed too risky when pre-made options exist. Eventually, the cost of updating and creating an engine are so high, the viable options dwindle until there are only a few left, and companies have a monopoly on gaming. It's why internet is such a monopoly. The barrier of entry to enter the market is too high for any smaller companies. So you get like 2D pixel roguelikes from your indie studios, and all the AAA shit sucks and bombs. I mean, the industry in of itself is just, it's not going anywhere. It's bad. And people want to blame wokeness and shit like that. There's too many gay or black characters in these games. I don't know, man. I think the whole system, just from top to bottom, is just fucked. In my opinion, it's an amazing things to the visuals is satisfactory. Absolute adequate engine with already very great built-in capabilities. Lumen, Nanite, virtual shadow maps. While those are often overblown, or they can actually achieve their sole objectively net positive and when properly used can yield some gorgeous results. But what are they being used for? Are people going to be buying these games that are just, shinier versions of games we got 10 years ago? All the graphical fidelity and whatnot. How many, what's driving innovation in the gaming industry? What are we doing? And somebody said, this is Asmongold was covering this, but I saw a comment under his video said they're offloading development costs to your $2,000 GPUs. Basically, yeah, you're buying a $2,000 graphics card instead of paying $200 for the game. A few other things. It's actually being offloaded into your CPU. Most games are extremely CPU bottlenecked due to modern engines and optimization issues. Being CPU bottleneck means building a new computer most of the time. It's pretty tragic. So, yeah, no, you're buying a $2,000 GPU to pay a $20 game with $80 price tag. Yeah, that's basically it. But this guy had some interesting things to say.
Stalker 2. You can see I got like 21 hours in this game. I was originally just gonna make a video on it, just showing the performance and everything. Damn, bro.
Yeah, that looks pretty bad. Oy, oy vey. Memory, 5 gigabytes, megahertz, all that good stuff.
You can't even get 60 on this card? I don't know about you guys, but nowadays I hear Unreal Engine 5 in a game. I know that the graphics are supposed to be amazing. I just hear, wow, that's gonna be a huge hit to our performance. But as it's kind of gone on,
I use, my GPU is almost 8 years old. I have a GTX 1080 Ti, I think 11 gigabytes. I have 32 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, 8 gigabyte sticks. I mean, my computer is from 2017. It's old as fuck. I paid $2,000 for it in 2017. But, you know, some of these games, I was playing Dead Space, the new remake that came out a couple of years ago. And I'm running it in basically like medium settings. And it looks good. It looks real good. But it's just like, you hear differences about like the graphics cards and upgrading. It's like, I'm holding off on upgrading for a while. It's just like, are the capabilities of like the 3090 RTX, are they, you know, or like the 5090 RTX, they're just releasing the new 5090 RTX. Like this shit here, $2,500 card. Is it that much better for gaming? You know, is the software, the hardware actually improving? Asus TUF 1490 is $2,879. I think I paid that much for my whole PC. So fucking nuts. This shit is ludicrous as fuck. They will sell, unfortunately. Of course they're gonna sell. Well, they'll use them, if not for gaming, they'll use them for like Bitcoin mining or some shit. Nvidia is currently valued at 3.37 trillion and the second most valuable company in the world. These prices are pure and utter greed. Don't forget this is pre-tariff, something a lot of these no prices fine idiots are just totally fucking stupid about. People are okay with the 2080 Ti. They were okay with the 3090. They were okay with the entire 40 series pricing. We'll see if people buy this new lineup. Yep. Oh, baby. At least this means deep discounts on the 40 series, right? Anakin JPEG, right? Oh, Lord. So, I don't even know. Like, what's the point of buying all these high-end cards? What's the point of it, like expecting the games industry, like, wanting, like, higher-end stuff? You spend $3,000 on a GPU to play a game on Unreal Engine 5, and you're still struggling to get to like 60 FPS and all these new innovations with like the graphics engine and whatnot, all this new optimization just doesn't work. It's a fucking mess, you know, and what are we even doing here? It's a fucking disaster, but I don't know. I'm just gonna stick to my 8-year-old rig. For now, I might buy a new one later if I come into some more money, but I don't even know. I don't even game that much anymore, really. But still, there's just nothing coming out I'm excited for. There's nothing new in this field, this industry, that I'm really looking forward to. I don't know if do I really want to spend another $2,000 or $3,000 on a PC when I'm not going to be playing games on it with my old PC? Yeah, it's slow sometimes. I hear all the gigabytes of RAM churning every time I try to save a JPEG to my hard drive, but it's what's the point of this shit, you know? Why upgrade? I don't really have to, you know, that's the thing, but a lot of guys, they want the latest shit, you know, and if you're in an industry, if you're like a professional gamer, you know, or if you're a guy that plays, you know, video games for a living or one of these things, you got to keep going to the highest kind of stuff, but then again, it's like, what's out there to play, really? Games suck nowadays. You know, I mean, would I be better off buying a PS5 with no games on it? I don't know. But they will absolutely sell they will sell bucket loads as far as people who can't wait to replace the 4090 with a 5090. Absolutely bonkers to me. This community combines people that make a lot of money and can afford to buy the newest and best things every few years, and people who make little to no money are looking for the greatest deals. It is like complaining a luxury car costs a lot of money. You can get an affordable car for multiple times less money. So yeah.
I've been questioning this game entirely. Should this game even be on Unreal Engine 5? We've seen so many games move to it. I mean, I have a whole list here. Witcher 4, CD Projekt Red, you know, they literally had this.
I guess they're taking Geralt out of Witcher 4, more woke nonsense. These SJWs have to be stopped.
Amazing engine, the Red Engine that runs Cyberpunk that looks incredible at times. Halo just did an entire rebrand. They're switching to Unreal Engine 5. Apparently it's going to be incredible.
Unreal affords us more opportunity than we've ever had in the past.
Halo keeps saying it's going to save their franchise. Tomb Raider switching to Unreal Engine 5, Tekken 8, Yakuza, First Descendant. And let's be honest too, there's been some remakes that are coming out that are UE5 remakes like Silent Hill 2 and Until Dawn. It is a really nice graphical uplift for these games. Are they just basically beta testing the studios using the engine so that their future games can just run using Unreal Engine 5? But it really starts.
That is interesting to me. Like, what are we actually trying to do here? How much of this is real? How much will be delivered to the customer? You know, I mean, what are the studios doing exactly? Is this just like one big test? You know, like he was saying, what are we doing here? What's going on?
Started to get me thinking with Stalker 2 because this is a very beloved franchise. It is extremely immersive. The world interacts on its own and you're merely a person within the world. You're barely even the main character of this story. It's an interesting feeling that not really any games match. I think the only game that's closest to this is an indie game called Rain World. There is just a fully interactive world happening without you touching it at all, and you're just merely a little slug cat in that world. But they chose to put Stalker 2 in Unreal Engine 5, which more and more to this day just becomes more and more generic engine that doesn't feel like it produces anything special. Like,
yeah, it's just like, you know, it's just the shine comes off of it after a while. What are we really getting? What's the next? It feels like we're waiting for the next big leap. Not just in graphics, but in gameplay as well. The next really killer IP to come out. And it's just not coming out. It's just like, why am I spending all this money just to play the same game I've been playing? Why do we need to upgrade this shit? Everything's just it's the same thing with like Hollywood. Everything's just a remake or a sequel. It's the same thing for the gaming industry. Just take old IP like Stalker 2 and put new graphics on it. Build it with a new engine. And remake this, remake that. They're gonna remake Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, probably with the Unreal 5 engine or something else. And what do we? It's just the same crap. Why would I care how good the game looks if I played it and beat it 15 years ago? What are we doing here?
a lot of these games nowadays, Unreal Engine 5 games, just feels like slop at this point. So let's really dig into Stalker 2 because I think this is a perfect example what kind of problems Unreal Engine can have and some of the things that it really does bring to the table to help this game. It's not all bad. All right. It's very important to start off that...
Okay, well, I'll leave a link to this video. It's interesting to me just how the industry just kind of seems to be spinning its wheels and no real innovation is taking place. And, you know, I don't know what the future holds for the industry in itself, for all these games and whatnot, but it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere good. It seems like we're really innovation is taking a backseat to just charging people as much money as possible and not not offering anything new in terms of optimization, in terms of how these games run, in terms of how these games play. So I don't know. I've just been rambling for a while. You have to forgive me, but I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. And like and subscribe, all that good shit. And I will talk to you guys later.
Ryan Little.